In this video we're going to see how to use the solve command to find the solution of a single equation. We have a couple of examples written here as text inside the notebook, and the first example wants us to solve this quadratic. As I said, we use the solve command, so we write solve, and we want the solution of an equation, so that means we need a square bracket next. Then we type in the quadratic, which is x to the power 2 subtract 5x plus 6. Then comes a tricky subtlety now. We're not going to write type 1 equals sign, we're going to type 2 equal signs. The exact reason is, well, tricky to explain, but if you just memorize the following fact, then you won't go wrong, and that is that you need 2 equals whenever you're balancing values. And that's what we're doing here. We're saying the left hand side of x squared minus 5x plus 6, the value of that left hand side is balanced with the value of the right hand side, namely 0. So whenever you're in the scenario of balancing a left hand side with a right hand side, you need to use double equals in Mathematica. Well, the left hand side in this example is balanced with 0, so I type the 0. Notice that when I type the 0, that double equals change slightly in appearance. I could close this off now and it would work perfectly well, but in more sophisticated examples Mathematica would become confused. Very often we have to tell Mathematica which variable we want the solution of, and in this case it's obvious that it has to be x because that's the only one, but as I said, in other situations it can be ambiguous, so it's politer to always tell Mathematica which variable we wish to find the solution of. So in this case that's x, so I put a comma and an x. Notice x changes colour slightly. So now I've entered the equation, I close the bracket and execute the command, and we can see the solutions to the equation. Now, since this was a quadratic, we could have solved it ourselves with the formula, or in this particular instance we could have solved it by factorization. But other equations don't have nice simple formulas to plug in to find solutions. For example, a cubic, there is actually a cubic equation, but it's a horribly complicated thing to use, so it's nice that we have some feature in Mathematica to solve cubics. So we're going to see if we can get solve to work in just the same way for this cubic equation. So we type solve, and 3x plus 5 minus 2x to the power 3 is balanced with, double equals, is balanced with 7x to the power 2, and I want the solution of x. So let's see if that command works, and yes and no. It has given us a solution, but it's given us a solution in exact form, which has some advantages but not to us. That just looks too confusing. So we need to change these exact values into decimal numbers, and that's actually very easy to do. We just have to give a decimal number within the question. So instead of 7, I'm going to type 7.0. If the decimal is in the question, the answers will be given in decimal form. And there we have the solutions of the equation. And this is how we generate solutions of equations for a single equation.